Hello there, it's the Drowsy Dragon here, and the early access to player housing in World of Warcraft is nearly upon us. So here are 10 player housing tips just for you. There's actually 12, but 10 sounded better in the title, so let's get stuck into it. Starting with the basics. Now, to actually buy your house, you'll simply get a quest on patch day when you log in. All you need to do is follow that quest line. It will take you through the portal in your faction's major city, either Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and there's a short quest chain and a tutorial you can complete, and very quickly you'll have yourself a house. You simply choose your plot, head to the cornerstone, right click on that, and then purchase it for 1000 gold. If you decide you want to move your house, all you need to do is press H and then open the house finder. Here you can view all of the plots on different neighbourhoods. So in a public neighbourhood, simply scroll through the neighbourhoods until you find one that has the plot that you wish to get available, and you can click on that and go to visit it. Once you visit it, this is technically reserved for you for 5 minutes while you make your decision, and then you can use the cornerstone to confirm the move. You don't need to pay again to move your house once you bought it initially. In guild neighbourhoods, you just need to see what plots are free, and in really large guilds there will be actual additional layers of the neighbourhood, like different phases, so you may need to find a phase that has your plot free, or communicate with a guildie and perhaps negotiate a move. Now, to get to the other faction's neighbourhood, let's say for example you are an alliance character, but you want to have a go at making a house on the horde side. What you simply need to do is log into a horde character. I believe it can simply be a level 10 or above, doesn't need to be a leveled character, and go and purchase a house in the horde neighbourhood with a horde character. Once you've done that, it becomes available to your warband, which is your entire account. Remember, when we say warband, we don't just mean the 4 characters that are there on the home screen when you're logging in. It is all of your account, is your warband. So now some travelling tips. The quickest way to get back to your house is to press H and go into the house panel, and then click on travel home, clicking the button just here at the top right. Make sure that if you have a house in both the Alliance and the Horde neighbourhoods, that you actually select the correct address you want to teleport to using the drop down menu here, because if you go to the wrong one, there is a 15-minute cooldown on this Hearthstone. So you can travel back using the portal that you go through initially at your faction's major city, but realistically you'll use this housing menu to teleport. It basically works like a Hearthstone. So let's imagine you've travelled across Azeroth to buy some decor, you've teleported home, and you realise that you didn't buy enough of what you needed, and now you need to go back to get more from the vendor. Well, fear not, you can use the Return to Previous Location button, which is also in the housing menu, to go straight back. It's just like a reverse Hearthstone, so that'll save you some time. Also handy if you're in the middle of questing or delves, for example, and you want to just go home for a short space of time and then get back into the adventure. So let's dive into some actual home creation tips. So when you first get your house, what I would suggest on the interior side of things, before you start decorating everything and putting loads of items in the house, test out your floor plan. So in the housing editing mode is the button on the far right on the house edit action bar, usually number 5. And when you go in there, remember you can add different rooms in different combinations. So just test this out for a little bit and don't commit to it straight away. Put a floor plan together and then come out of editing mode and just run around the house for a little bit and make sure you've got enough space for everything that you want to put in there. When you actually spend some time in the space, it can feel different to how it looks like on the overview. So make sure you've got space for what you need. Perhaps the corridor you made is a bit too long, or you're struggling to fill that large octagon room that you chose. So test out some different options, remembering that you can even go up as well. So you can indeed have multiple floors. So don't get intimidated by all the wonderful builds you see other players putting together, especially if you aren't very creative yourself. Take some time and just treat this as an experiment, a creative experiment. Remember that as your house levels up, you will be able to place even more rooms, so do bear in mind expansions to your home in the future. Next tip is small rooms are actually easier to fill. So don't feel like you need to make the biggest house possible. Sometimes you find that there's just simply too much space and it's more difficult to fill it to the point where it looks natural or feels quite right. A bedroom can just be a bedroom. It doesn't have to be some extravagant boudoir with waterfalls and a hot dog stand and a firework display, although that will be pretty cool, right? Perhaps one of the most important tips on this list when it comes to creativity is to think outside the box. So really mess around with the objects, turn objects upside down, resize them in ways that don't make sense on the surface, push things through walls so only a bit of it remains. Even use the back of an item, for example. This Zandalari bed turned backwards makes a really dramatic wall decoration. Here, I've turned this Orgrimmar bed upside down and pushed it through the wall, so I get this random tusk-like decoration atop the bar here. Why not? Horde like this kind of stuff, right? There are some incredibly creative combinations you can put together. Now, I did see someone today that was making instruments by simply combining lots of different items and scaling them down very small. So full credit to Building Mouse here for these genius ideas. Another example is that you may have seen people making waterfalls both inside and outside of their houses by simply scaling one of the fountains up to max and then covering it with rocks to kind of hide the actual waterfall inside. Or you can even use a rug dyed blue, turned upside down so it looks smooth, and then use that as water in a pond. And you can actually combine that with this fountain submerged underneath to make the water look like it's actually moving. So really push the boundaries of what you think can be done with housing, because people already have near enough broken this thing to genius levels and created some very wonderful things even before housing's actually come to the live game yet. So it's going to be amazing seeing what people actually do with this system. Another really simple example is taking this food rack here and making it really tiny so it looks more like a spice rack. It is possible to completely change the feel of an object by making it tiny or really large, just as shown here. This next tip is a great one. You can put a chair inside something to enable yourself to sit on it. Now, this is not my tip. I learned this from a WoW guide featuring a video from I Am Shorty on YouTube. So by adding a chair inside of an item, like a bed for example, enables you to sit on the bed. Now, what you do with this is you place the item that you want to sit on, then you add a chair, scale it down as small as it will go, and hide this within the item using the advanced edit mode features as shown here. Make sure that you don't place it too far inside or you may not be able to click on it. And this is something you can also be super creative with as well. You can pretty much sit on any item you can imagine. And yep, someone did use this to make a seemingly functioning toilet. So again, let the creativity flow as well as this toilet does. One tip for when you're editing your outside space of your home is to edit in steady flight mode. So most people default to skywriting these days, but when you're editing things in your outdoor space, especially things that are higher up, it can be a bit tricky from the ground to get to the right angle to see things properly. So remember that you can go into steady flight mode by going into your mount journal. You can find this option here to change to steady flight. And now you've got complete control once again of where you are in the sky. A bonus tip here is if you have a druid character, edit as a druid, because you've got the instant class flight form, and with it being such a small model as well, you can edit and not be in the way if you're on like a large mount. And it's also pretty good for when you're indoors too, in cat form, because you can be small as well. But I suppose for everybody else, you could just scroll your camera all the way in so that you're in first person mode. Definitely helps when you're trying to fine tune and very accurately place items. This next tip is to consider leveling your house up first before spending too much time on the inside. So you do unlock different rooms as your house levels up, so you might want to spend some time collecting decor and housing XP before investing a lot of time on the interior decoration of your home. For example, currently on beta, for getting to level 3, you unlock the Daylight Circle room. So maybe you don't want a traditional house with walls, you might even want to make those walls entirely yourself, and you can. But you would have to wait until level 3, so it is worth checking out what you can get in the future, looking at the housing leveling track, and plan in advance for those things. You can also have larger octagon rooms that unlock at level 4, and at level 5 you get both larger square rooms and the evening circle room. So these things could really switch up the vibe of what you actually want to create for your house. So try and plan accordingly. The next tip is to check out some other resources for inspiration. Now, the WoW Housing Hub website for decor lists, this is fantastic because you can see every single decor item here and use many different filters to see exactly where each item comes from, and if it's crafted, there will also be a list of the items and profession skill you need to be able to craft the item. Now, currently the in-game catalogue for decor is not that great, to be honest, so maybe in time there'll be add-ons that could perhaps replace or improve this. You do have add-ons such as the one called Homebound, which puts a nice list in there with an actual model that you can move around and see properly. For some reason, with the actual default Blizzard housing interface, you cannot turn the items around in sort of the other axis. You can spin them, but you can't turn them to see the top and bottom of them, which is quite annoying, to be honest. But with this website, the WoW housing database, you can indeed see the items in 3D and therefore view them in all their different angles. Speaking of other resources, Reddit users can head over to the r/WoW housing subreddit. This seems to be the place to go to get ideas. There's lots of new creators who are sharing their housing ideas, and tutorials are popping up on there as well, so definitely check that one out to get some ideas or to share your own. There's also housing discords that I've seen popping up too, so keep an eye out for those if you want to get stuck in. Remember that you will eventually be able to import and export housing layouts. Now, this feature isn't launching with housing initially, but it is planned for the future, so keep that one in mind if you just want to simply copy other ideas. A quick note for people that don't do any crafting: fear not, because there are a lot of items that come from crafted professions, but you can simply either buy these off the auction house or make use of the crafting order system and get somebody else to do this, either publicly, or you could send the order to a friend or a guildmate. And the final, and perhaps also one of the most important tips on this list, is to take your time and enjoy it. Remember, this isn't intended to be a feature that you get access to and complete within a few days. It's an evergreen feature, and it's supposed to be an evolving thing over time. You'll be getting decor from lots of different sources way into the future, so take your time, enjoy the system. I fully suspect that people will get in there and make a house, and then want to actually destroy the whole thing and start again, maybe even a few times. And don't worry if this is you, there's no pressure to make the perfect house. It's for you to just unleash your creativity and make something that you want, and it's uniquely yours. So enjoy yourself. And that is the end of the list of tips. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I do appreciate your time. Good luck with the housing, enjoy yourself, and just have a blast. This feature's been a long time coming, and I'm sure there's a lot of us that are extremely excited to get stuck in properly when it launches on the 2nd or 3rd of December, depending on where you are in the world. I have been the Drowsy Dragon. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave it a like and consider subscribing to receive more content and videos about World of Warcraft from myself. Take care, happy housing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!